Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Coach Ford here with the latest episode of Coach Ford Speaks. And today's episode is going to be about character building through sports. This is a pretty powerful topic to me since I've been coaching basketball since 2009. Uh, I've been an athlete, so I know the importance of having character building through sports, especially if it's done right. The influence of team sports and character development is so important. Sports, for a long time, were recognized for not only the physical benefits, but also for their roles in shaping individuals' character, uh, fostering teammate resilience and leadership skills. And so, throughout my time as a coach, I can honestly say these things to be true. And so I've had so many interactions. It's hard for me to just pick one, right? And it's hard for me to just pick one person or one time or one moment where I shaped a player's or individual's life. Um, I can tell you that I had a good conversation with my nephew and one of my adopted nephews, basically. Both of those guys played basketball for me. And they played basketball for me for a long time. And, we had a good conversation about things I taught them and expectations, and they got away from those expectations. And so I wasn't happy. It broke my heart as a coach, as an uncle, somebody that's a mentor to these guys, somebody that's been around them and saying, hey, man, what are you doing here? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you hoping to get done here? And they're young. I get it. That's the point of pouring into these guys early. And if we don't pour, and I actually heard this good yesterday. I've been getting inspired and having a lot of good conversations with people, but you don't find this stuff on your own. You don't find these conversations on your own. You don't get these talks on your own. You only get these kind of talks when you're doing the thing, right? And when you're talking to people and you're having full conversations with people. And so remember what I do this for. I do this because I remember being that kid growing up and needing those people to help me, needing those sports parents, those sports dads, those sports mom. And I had a great community. I came from a great community. And so because I came from a great community, those things poured into me and those values instilled in me. And at home, my grandmother did a great job of instilling these values. And so understanding the importance of it, right? We could talk about teamwork. And so in my program, and we use this line from Nick Saban is there's no I in team, but there's an I in win. And the I stands for the individual. And individuals held accountable to the team. What are we teaching the players when we say that, right? Shout out to Nick Saban. He's goated, one of the greatest college football coaches of all time, if you don't know. Um, but what are we teaching these guys? What are the lessons that we're teaching? What are the things that they are going to miss out on if we don't teach it, right? And sports only does these things if we teach it. It's not them learning to do it on their own. So it's important that we understand that as a coach, as a mentor, uh, to serve these athletes, to serve the community, serve the parents, to me my personal duty to ensure that we're instilling in them the right things. Do I get it right all the time? Absolutely not. I don't. I'm not going to tell you that I get it right all the time. And for me to sit up here, my players will tell you. They will tell you all the time, coach is crazy. Coach is off the wall, and I appreciate them for that. And I want that to be a two-way communication street. Now, there's times, and they know this. There's times to have a conversation with coach, and then there's times not to have a conversation with coach. And so, what am I teaching them? I'm teaching them perseverance. I'm teaching them resilience, right? And we hear these things all the time, but what does it mean? To preserve when things are tough, to preserve when things aren't going your way, to preserve and say, I'm going to push forward, and to be resilient enough to bite down and say, all right, let's do this. That's how I played the game. That's how I coached the game. Um, and, there's a lot of times where, I see people and I hear talk to people all the time on the sideline or after games or hear them talking and say, man, coach, you really got on that kid today. And I said, that's all you saw. That's all you saw was me chewing this kid out. But what you don't see me is in practice and talking to him and picking him up and cheering him on. And so it's not just me chewing him out, right? It's not just me getting on to him. I'm teaching these guys lessons. And so the title of this is building character through sport. And what does that mean? I've had so many character building moments. I had a player, his name is, anyways, I'm going to have him on. Uh, his name is Brett, and I'm going to have him on, and we're going to talk about his experience. I remember one time, um, we were doing some workouts, and we were doing some training, and we were working on the shooting, and he said, Coach, I really want to work on my shot. I want to get it better. And I said, well, if you want to get it better, you're going to have to do form shooting every single day. He's like, but coach, threes is my thing. I said, I get it. I get it. I get threes is your thing. But uh, you're going to have to do form shooting. You're going to have to get their shot corrected. And it's going to take us some time to fix it. It's going to take us some time to improve it. I'm trying to figure out where my camera angle is. I feel like I'm talking to somebody over there, but my camera's right here. So I have to look in the camera, not look over here like I'm looking away at somebody else. But let me see if I can fix this. But so I'd see that my angle's here. So I said, you're going to have to fix it. You're going to have to create that change that you want to see. And so, part of doing what we're doing here is giving them the proper habits, the proper work habits, the proper behaviors and things that we want to see and the things that we're hoping will be seen. So, it's easy, and then it's easy not to do. Let's say it again. It's easy, and then it's easy not to do. I tell my players all the time, what I'm asking you to do is hard. What I'm asking you to do is difficult because it goes beyond just the game of basketball. It goes beyond just the things you're learning here today. It goes beyond just the lessons on this court. And so understanding that the skills that I'm teaching you are going to surpass the game of basketball. It's going to be when you're in this job market and somebody's dependent on you to do a job and somebody's asking you to show up and do a function. So this is where the title of my book comes in. And this is where I get real passionate. And so um, it's called Just Do Your Job. When we're on the sideline, guess what? We're spending months, hours, days developing the ability to teach these guys for 4 months, right? And it starts before the 4 months. We are going into the off season. So we have an off season cycle. So with the off season, we have a plan. We have and I got to work on my off seasons. But anyways, we have a plan. We got to focus, right? And so we're teaching them discipline. We're teaching them right behaviors. Um, and then we're learning how to do the right things. We're learning how to work together as a team. We're learning how to be an inclusive and diverse group. The role of team sports is promoting inclusivity and diversity and acceptance of others. I have kids from all over. I have a very diverse team, and I love that. I love that we have kids from all over, and they're not the same individual. And each person, even though they have their different needs, uh, I'm teaching them something. I'm teaching them just because you have this gift doesn't mean your gift is not important. Uh, somebody else's gift may be important, and that's okay. Utilize your strengths. Don't try doing what this guy does. That's not your job. Don't do what I do. That's not your job. Your job is to be you. Your job is to be the very best person that you can be. And if you do that, then we'll be okay. If you don't do that, then we got problems, bro. Like, come on, just do your job, man. That's what that stands for, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm teaching them something. I'm teaching them. I'm getting them to understand that if you do your job and you take ownership of your role and responsibility on this team, then we'll be okay. Don't do the point guard's job because that's not your job. Don't do the center's job because that's not your job either. You do your specific function. If it's 1 minute, great. You be the best in that 1 minute. If it's not 1 minute, then you be the best in the 3 minutes or the 4 minutes or whatever the time that you have. But don't forsake what it's doing for you and working on you in order to improve you as an individual for the rest of your life. I think oftentimes we get misunderstood and misviewed on the purpose of sports. We think my kid needs to play all the minutes. No, your kid, your son, your daughter, your player, your athlete needs to be taught the right things. It may not all the time be in playing every minute. And so always ask the player, how much time do you spend with your craft? How much time do you spend getting better at the thing of which you said that you love? And I get it. People are busy, but that's not an excuse. Execution over excuses. Execution over excuses. Execution over excuses. Execution over excuses. So I coach young men. I coach basketball players. These guys are supposed to go out and help impact the world in a positive way. So how do they do that? They're going to be somebody's husband, father, leader, boss. They're going to be somebody's worker. They're going to be dependent on them. Understand me when I say this. Somebody is going to be dependent on that athlete. And it's not how they enter my program that I'm held responsible for. It's how they leave it. It's how they leave my program. It's how they uh, develop the understanding and focus. It's how they get discipline. It's how they understand that the things that you do off the court impact what you do on the court and vice versa. There is no in betweens. They're all on the same coin. And so, we want them to translate how your failures are not failures, but the things of which we're learning and we're teaching them, and the things that we're understanding that we're the things that we're learning and things that we must comprehend. So as long as we keep doing this and as long as we keep focusing on things that are important, then we'll be okay. We'll be okay if we do the things. Understand that I force players to be in the leadership role all the time. And I'm forcing them, and I'm not going to say force, that's not a good term, but I'm putting them in position to lead. I'm putting them in position to understand, okay, hey, who's doing the line drills? We know we got an expectation, guys. Okay, I taught you this. Now I'm not going to keep telling you. I want to see who's going to lead this deal. And that's what I say. This is what I believe. I believe they must learn it. And where's the best way to do it than on this team while they're with the person that's willing to teach them, right? And so I want you to understand, right, that there's so much more to this game, basketball. There's so much more to sports when it's done right. And I want them to be able to be effective leaders. What does that mean? Teaching individuals how to lead by example, communicate effectively, learn how to inspire others to do their jobs. And the individual person understand that your job, here's your number one job, and it's in my book. Your number one job is to become the best version that you can be. And if you become the best version that you can become, and if you become the best version, you at home watching this video, and if the next person takes understanding that their job is to be the very best they can be, I took a decision to become the very best that I could be in terms of basketball, in terms of what I was doing. And I fail all the time. I'm not good at some things. And so the things I'm not good at, those aren't my jobs and roles. Those aren't my strengths. So I got to pull away from those things. And that's okay. We have to be okay with saying, that's just not my role. I'm not good at this, but this is the thing that I'm really good at. And it takes a good team leader and it takes a good person aware of themselves to say, these are the things I must do. These are the lessons I must learn. And these are the positions, things I should be in because these are what I'm strong in. And a good individual, self-aware of themselves, will do those things. And so I get passionate about these things. I get passionate and I love these things. I love my athletes. I love the game of basketball. I love sports. I love the things that it can teach if we teach it in the right way. But it must be taught in the right way. I'm not just coaching, I'm mentoring these guys. And so when they show up on day one, I don't expect them to know what a kid I've been teaching since third grade should know. But what I do expect them is by the end of this process to learn something. I want them to learn one thing. And what is that? The standard is the standard is the standard. When you show up, we have a particular way of doing things, brother. And that's what I say to them. Hey, brother, we have things that we must do on a day-to-day basis, and it must be done. There is no expectation. There is no other way around it. And so I get passionate, and I can't wait to bring on some of my players because my players do a better job of crafting the story than I do. I don't sit around thinking and conjuring up these things. I sit around and I say, what are the habits and behaviors? Hell, you told me you were going to do this 2 weeks ago and it hasn't been done. That's unacceptable and we got to figure it out. And you got to be held accountable to your word. And I have to be held accountable to mine. That's the character building. That's the power of sports. That's the power of saying, hey, how do we make a positive impact? And not only that, how do we develop and cultivate your mind? And that's on another one. That the mental mastery, the mastery of the mental game. That's another book I have coming out. That book's not prepared yet. There's lots that I want to talk about in that book. So you may wonder what's changed about my speech. Well, I'm practicing. I've been practicing my speech. I've been practicing how I communicate. And that's part of leadership. That's part of being an example to my guys. And so, excuse me for my passion. Excuse me for getting fired up. Excuse me um, for the things of which that I love. And now you see, when I talk to my players, this is the coach that they get, the fun-loving coach. See, when you show up to game day, you saw the highlight of the things that we went through as an individual team. You saw the highlights of the things we went through as an individual team, but you weren't there when we were doing the work, when we were running the line drills, when I was picking this kid up and I was having to talk to this kid when he was crying. There's the difference. So when you say, "Oh, he doesn't yell and scream," you're right. It's all I do is I push them to be their very best, pushing them to excellence. It is my job as their coach and mentor to push them, to transform them in a positive way. And sometimes I fail at that. Okay, sometimes I fail, but it's through the failures and mistakes and talking to these players and saying, "How can I be better for you this year? How can I be better for you next year? And how can I be better for you every single day, showing up to be better?" And if I do that, then they'll learn that, hey, I may fail today, but doesn't mean I'm failing tomorrow. I may fail for this moment, but doesn't mean it gives us an opportunity to put our head down. I had a player of mine the other day. I had two good conversations with two of my guys. And I said, "Hey, what's going on with you?" We had good conversations about things. And I said, "Why is your head down?" He said, "I just don't know why I couldn't get this particular thing." And I said, "Why are you doing this then?" I said, "Why are you moping and coming outside, defeating yourself and saying, this time it won, but tomorrow I'm going to get it. And if I don't get it tomorrow, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do it again. And if I don't figure it out, then I'm going to do it again." And that's the lesson. And if we learn to do it, sometimes you're going to fail. And sometimes you must fail in order to learn and grow. And this is what the individual people, I want you to learn this. People, if you're at home, it's okay to fail. It's okay to figure it out. It's okay to fail until you figure it out. The problem is we have people that laugh when you're trying to figure it out. So that's okay. I'm here to say, let them laugh. Let them laugh. Let it fuel you. Let it put a burning desire inside you. And if you cannot put that burning desire inside yourself, if you can't figure out the burning desire in yourself, then you call Coach Ford and you message me, Ford X. You message me and you say, "Hey, Coach, I just need a word." I had a conversation with somebody this week. She said, "Hey, this is what I need." I said, "Well, I'm going to call you every Monday at this time. And I'm not going to tell you your business. So I'm going to call you. I'm going to text you every Monday at 4. And I'm going to hold you accountable to the things that you said, because why? I need that accountability to be the very best that I can be." And so as she told me, she said, "Justin," she's the only person that calls me Justin. Well, there's a couple of people that call me Justin. And they say, "Justin," everybody else calls me Coach Ford, but she calls me Justin. And that's okay because she's my big cousin. She said, "Justin, you give all nuggets in your conversations." No, all I'm doing is being honest with you. And sometimes the truth hurts. It touched me sometimes. It touched me. But in order to be great, I've never seen anything that is worthwhile take the easy road. When children are born, the mother goes through months and months and months. And then what happens? A beautiful child is brought onto this earth. That is beautiful. That doesn't just easy. That's not easy. You think it's easy to do that. It's not. And so I commend those mothers. I commend the sports moms for what they do. You birth that child and then you raise that child and then you bring them to me and you allow me to coach them. And I appreciate these mothers who allow me to coach their kids and understand the lessons that we do it together, because it takes a village. It takes a village. And in your village, you need three things. You need a team. What is a team? Your people at home. You need a mentor. You need a coach. Sometimes your mentor is your coach, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes you need a mentor and you need your coach. And your mentor is teaching you different things. But a good coach, an excellent coach, is going to do both of these things. And I want you to understand that. And so, for the people at home who's watching this, for the people on YouTube, if you're listening to this on SoundCloud, I thank you for listening. I thank you for supporting this and understanding that Here is my vision for the world, right? Not only do I have a company vision, I have my own personal coaching vision. And give me 1 second here. My passion fuels me. My passion fuels me. And here's my personal vision for what we're doing. My vision is to empower generations of athletes through the transformative power of mentorship and pushing them to excellence on and off the court. I had to write it down. The reason why I had to write it down, and I as in my heart, I do the actions. I'm not a talker. I don't like talking like that. Okay, I like to act, and here's the reason why I'm recording podcasts and I'm doing content, because no more talking about I'm going to record the show. No more talking about I'm going to put the content out. So I'm talking now because that's action, execution. I decided that I was going to do these things. I decided to get real focused on the things that I said I was going to do. And here we are doing the thing. And so when my players say, Coach, you're a man of your word. When my community says, you're a man of your word. And I fell on that word sometimes. I don't always get it right. I'm not betting 100% of how to use the term. I'm not. And that's what fuels me every single day to get up. I'm getting up every single day. Not a video, making content. Why? Because I'm fueled now. I have a burning desire to reach and attain the thing of which I know I can do. And so that's a story for another day. The impact of team sports on character development. And I'm doing this podcasting and this video thing my way. And if you value the things that I value, which is the power of mentorship and pushing these players to excellence on the court. And so when I'm coaching the kids, uh, there's a lot in the middle things. And so I had a good conversation with one of my inner circle people the other day, talking about, Justin, you do so much more than what your statement says. I know that's a trade secret. I told her it's a trade secret. What is a trade secret? You'll never know. That's why a trade secret's secreted to a company. That's my trade secret. Just know that I'm giving it to the world. You may not think that I'm giving it to the world, but I am giving it to the world. And I'll get better. I've gotten better at this. I've gotten better. So my first video was 12 minutes, right? And so I've gotten better. And they go back to the first episode. The episode was introducing mentorship. And every part of this series is developing. So I have a schedule. I'm going to do 8 episodes on mentorship, maybe more. And then after this series, after I'm done with mentorship, we'll see where the ship takes us. Right now, I'm building the infrastructure. And so I get passionate about these things. I get passionate about the life skills, such as discipline and teamwork, resilience and leadership. And the most important of them all is communication and being able to speak and talk to people. And I'm learning, even if your voice trembles, sometimes I'm afraid to hurt people's feelings. My players will tell you that I'm not afraid to hurt their feelings. And the reason why I'm not afraid to hurt their feelings is because they know I've developed them some. And not everybody's prepared for the thing of which I'm speaking. Not everybody's prepared for the conversation. And I get it. And in some sense, it's biblical. A harsh tongue receives the same treatment. It's met with resentment. So I have to be careful and phrase my words in such a way for non-athletes that it doesn't hurt their feelings. And I'm in the same boat, and I understand. And so I'm getting better. I've improved over my time. And my hope is for my players to see that they can do this, that they can do great things. And that's why I'm doing this. If I'm going to say I'm going to do the things that I'm going to do, then I want my actions to meet my words. I want my execution to meet the thing which I'm said I'm going to do. And so I smile more uh, because life is good. Everything is a blessing and a gift. My ability to speak is a gift. And so I have 2 special episodes coming up on Coach Ford Speaks. One of my mentees, Chris, I cannot wait to have him on here. I had a conversation with him last night, and it warms my heart. Um, and it gives me joy in a good way. Uh, for the world that doesn't know, what I'm doing is so much bigger than sports. And I don't always get it right. And so I'm developing other coaches and people to be able to love and serve players at the highest level possible. That is what we're here to do. And if we don't do those things, what are we doing here? If we don't love and serve on these athletes to the best of our abilities, what have we done? And that's my passion because that's what was taught to me through my coaches and through my mentors to love and serve through my village, to love and serve. And that is the lesson. So I don't simply do this for money. I don't. I don't coach for that. I've been in red for a long time doing this game. So I don't do it for that. And so, excuse my passion. That for those who don't know me, now you get the insights into who I am and how I coach and the things of which that I'm teaching these guys. And like I said, if it's done right, if it's done right, then that's what we're doing. And so I hope you get something from this. I hope you get something from this conversation. And in all of my research, it always talks about where here's the research. I've never seen a championship team won disenfranchised. I've never seen a championship team not doing the things I need to talk about. There's no data that I need to present to you. If you want the data, then go to the research lab at your library and then go into Google and research how many championship teams won not communicating, having leaders, not having collaboration and cooperation as a collective achievement. You tell me these things because that's what it takes. It takes a team of individuals held accountable to one another. And without these things, without teamwork, and there's no person, there's three things I say this. Look at it. There's three things that I say. You need a team, you need a mentor, you need a coach in your village. And it's important. It's important. And if you have these things, and if you understand these things, and this is for even the individual at home. The individual at home needs this too. And so um, as I get better at this, I appreciate you during this process. See, everybody is so enamored with the end process. Imagine on my boards, if you could see the thoughts and the conversations on the boards and the trainings and the hours that I'm putting into this, getting up at 5 a.m. because I know time is precious. Once the day starts, I have to go to work. So I must complete my objectives. I'm fueled by my passions. I'm fueled. I've been fueled, been reignited. I've been reignited with the thing of which I said I'm going to do. And for I've been getting trained for the last 6 years for this, and I'll have a greater conversation along the lines of what that means. But for now, I'm talking about the mentorship and these things because it's about my athletes and how do we serve them. But I have to be the best that I can be. It's in my book. Just do your job. If I'm not the best that I can be, if I'm not being the example and doing my job to be the very best that I can be, then how can my players how do I expect that from my players? If I don't expect them to show up and do the things which I'm saying I'm doing, then how do I expect that from them? And I tell them all the time, I love playing Call of Duty. I do. I do. It fuels me to be able to have the time to play that. But right now I'm mission critical. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission. And what's that mission? To empower generations of athletes through the transformative power of mentorship and pushing them to excellence on and off the court. And if I do that, well, even if I fail somewhere at the top, then I've inspired the next ones. So here's what I want you to leave with this. The power of teamwork, resilience and perseverance, leadership development. And I shared some character building moments for you. Inclusivity and diversity. I have very diverse teams. And I have some mini stories. I have many stories, but I'm going to get permission from these people to tell their stories because it's powerful. And it's powerful. And it's not just my story. It's their story. It's their journey. I'm just a mentoring guy that helps them along the way. Understand this. That's my job. And if I don't teach this to, who will? Because the world will try bringing them down. And I've seen it time and time again. People laughing and ridiculing the person doing the thing of which they won't do. And so I'm here to tell them, strive for greatness. inclusivity and diversity, and life skills beyond the game. Through sports such as time management, discipline, goal setting, translate into success academics. So it's on and off the court. Careers, I talk to my players. You want to go to college? Great. In my mentoring program, we're going to have opportunities. And so this is very near and dear to my heart. What I want to see done with 4H mentoring programs, I want to see we're going to create the mentoring program to give students and kids and mentees the opportunity to go to college, go to trade school, start a business, but they have to have completion. And we're not going to give them the money directly. We're going to give it to the institution. So the motivation is for them to go and show up and do, which they said they would do, and we would give them support. And so my passion has fueled me to do this. And so instead of sitting, and so God was telling me, son, you're the person to do these things, and you're waiting for somebody else to do the thing that you can do. And so that's very powerful to me. It's very powerful. So I continue to thank God for the gifts and talents that I have, for the vision that I have. And so, Brett, I cannot wait for him to come on. And so my nephew, he's starting to learn. He's starting to come around, and many others. And Chris, my mentee, my number one mentee right now. But those are the individuals. Those are three that have permission to speak on that now. And then the other ones I would get on, and we will have great conversations. So whether it's on the field, the court, or the pitch, the lessons learned through sports extend far beyond the game itself, shaping individuals to be resilient, empathetic, principled members of society. So join us the next time as we continue our explanation of transformative power of sports, transformative power of mentorship, and pushing athletes to excellence on and off the court. This has been episode 2 of Coach Sports Speaks. The title today is The Impact of Team Sports on Character Development. Building character through sports, it's important and near and dear to my heart. And I appreciate all the athletes and parents and grandparents and siblings to allow me to coach. It fuels me. Your belief in me. It fuels me to mentor these guys. It fuels me. I get emotional about this because they don't have to. They don't have to follow. And I could get pushed with a lot of pushback, but those interactions usually don't last long. So take the nuggets of what you will, and take the information and run with it. And for the athletes listening to this, you are great. Look at me right here. You are great. Your greatness is out there. Don't let anybody tell you, look me in the eye, like this is a timeout between me and the athlete. You are great. You can do great things, and I believe in you. Let's go.